Started today. And I'll just keep an eye on the chat as we're going along here. So, to kind of start out our webinar today, I just wanted to start out by introducing you to reviewer, kind of why we are hosting this webinar today. And then also kind of give you a little intro to our topic here. So, as many of you probably know, we are an applicant management software. So, essentially, any program where you are intaking any kind of application and it's going through a judging or review process, we can run that within reviewers. So, we run everything from scholarships to grant programs, awards. All sorts of different competitions, call for speakers, call for abstracts, all kind of things of that nature. And over the years here at Reviewer, we have we have run thousands of different um, award programs. So we have kind of compiled some of the best practices, some of the ways that we have seen programs fail, and then some things that we have seen them be really successful with. So we have kind of compiled all of those for you guys today. And with that being said, my name is Callie. I run all of our marketing here at Reviewer. And my kind of role in this webinar is just to give you a little bit of a view from a um, just award perspective, currently what's kind of going on in the award space, and things of that nature. And then I have Hallie here from my team, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Yeah, I'm Hallie. I'm a part of the customer success team here at Reviewer. So I work with our clients from the time they're onboarded and brought into the reviewer space. I help them get their events up and running, set up their submission forms, start accepting those submissions, help out throughout the review process, and then kind of help close out, gather reports, information, and then close things out and get ready for the next year. So I kind of can understand, where our clients are coming from with past platforms that they've used, past systems. Maybe it was just a PDF, a Google form, emails. So kind of understanding their frustrations, what they're looking for, what they kind of need to see improvement in through Reviewer. Then I understand kind of what we're doing to help them combat some of the issues that they're having in the past. So I just kind of have that insider client understanding kind of perspective. So I kind of know what you all are looking for when you're coming to find a new platform.
Awesome. So I did want to note before we get started that the chat is open. So if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to drop them in the chat. But with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. So first, we kind of wanted to look at the reality of the problem we're seeing here. So kind of some of the common things that we see a lot of different people in the award space struggling with, lots of associations, is overall just hacking a lot of tools together to be able to run their awards program. We overall just see a lot of manual work. We see a lot of spreadsheets. We see a lot of Google Forms, Jot forms, things like that. We see a lot of emails going back and forth, different Google Docs or Word documents, things like that. And we just see a lot of time being taken up by all of these different manual processes. And we've also seen as far as things like mailed in submissions or paper and pen, that style as well. So, what we are looking to build and what we have seen be really successful is kind of just an all in one program. So, from start to finish, every piece of your program lies within one tool. So, to kind of lay out our agenda for today, we are going to start with the real cost of disconnected tools. So this is kind of what it is, what it's costing you guys to use all of these different tools and kind of piece things together. The second piece we will move into is the life cycle gaps programs don't see. So that is pointing out the pieces of kind of your programs that kind of get overlooked or things that might be causing issues that aren't always paid attention to. And then we will finish off with some kind of solutions to a lot of the issues we have brought up kind of in part one and part two. you and show you a framework that will actually kind of work for your needs and give you some tips and tricks within there that can kind of help your programs succeed.
Yeah, so with that, we can do the first pillar, which is the real cost of disconnected tools. So, what are kind of your duct tape methods that you're using right now, your manual processes? What are they actually costing you? So the first thing that we'll kind of talk about is the time drain. Something that we're really big on here is kind of having the most efficient way and understanding everyone's kind of value of time. We understand that most of you who are running these awards programs, your main job is not just to run an awards program. This is something you're picking up. It's kind of an extra task within your job. And so we understand that it is not realistic or really manageable to spend an extra 15 to 20 hours a week just to run an awards program that's going to last a month or two. It's not manageable at all and not really something that you should have to do. And so that's something that we kind of want to focus in on is, that is a big kind of cost, whether even though it's maybe not, you're not getting paid extra or anything like that for your company wise, but that is your time that is being spent and that's costly. The second thing is nomination drop off. So you're putting all of this time into building this kind of mediocre application process. It's not intuitive for the applicant. It's not easy to access. It's confusing. They don't have the ability to come and go as they please in their progress saves. It's just overall not a very great process for them. And so you're putting all this work into something that isn't really a great outcome. And then your submitters are kind of reflecting that. They are not finishing, they are starting their form, and then as soon as they realize the length or they get confused, they leave, they can't come back and pick up where they left off. And so they're just not going to finish it. Which really doesn't look great as you kind of are running those awards programs. You want to have those numbers and completion rates up. The third thing is judge and volunteer fatigue. So kind of the same as you admin, where this is not your main job. This judging is not your evaluator's main job either. This is more than likely your volunteers coming in, donating their time to help you out and kind of pick your winners of these awards. And so it's really, really important to us that we create a good experience for them because we want those volunteers to continue to come back. We want them to have kind of that good word of mouth spread where it's going to say, I had a really great experience coming in and judging these applications. I think you should apply next year, or I think you should come judge next year. Kind of just getting that buzz going about the event that you're running, generating some kind of positive outflow. No visibility. So can't answer basic questions to maybe your boss or maybe to someone in your organization of, oh, how many submissions have you had for this award so far? What are the status? How many of those submissions have actually submitted? How many days do you have left of your process? All those kind of things. It should just be really quick answers that you should be able to roll off right away. But when you're using systems like Google Forms, PDFs, emails, things like that, you have no idea until you sit down at the end and kind of add everything together, how many submissions you have, the status of them, how many complete actual submissions you end up with, which is really frustrating and not a great process for you because then again, that's adding more time to your plate where you have to sit down and kind of figure all that out. Repeated rework. So every single year you are starting fresh. You are building a new form, you're making changes. You can't quite remember what you did last year. So you kind of are, just going from scratch, which isn't a great process. Again, that takes a lot of time. You guys are wanting to build these really great award programs and you're having to start from scratch every year, nothing to go off of other than memory. Not a very good process, not something where you can just pick up right where you left off last year. And then the last thing is program integrity. So we are having our applicants send in kind of private information. So whether that's a social security number, tax documents, bank forms, kind of anything along those lines, even just something as simple as headshots. Those are kind of secure files, uploads that need to be secure and safe. And when we are submitting to other platforms, when we are submitting through emails, things like that, that is not secure. And that's putting our applicants at risk, which is not a great experience. We need to make sure that we are keeping our applicants safe because that's the best experience for them. And then kind of just to wrap all of that up, we can talk about the hidden cost of these disconnected tools. So it's not a what if they are costing you anything, it's that they are. And so the amount of hours that you're spending a week, that's costing you your time. Nomination abandonment, that's kind of a waste of time as well, where you're having people come in and they start an application and they don't finish it. Your review cycle is longer, not a very good experience for your reviewers, for those volunteers. And then at the end of the process, you have no reporting of how much impact did these awards make? How many people did I reach? What did this do?
All right, so now we are going to move into our second pillar, which is the life cycle gap most programs don't see. So these are kind of pulling out some of the pieces that we sometimes miss within our programs that are causing issues. So I want to start by just looking at the scholarship life cycle as a whole. And I think sometimes as we're running our programs, we are missing some of these pieces. So you start with nomination intake. So you are having all your nominations come in. You then go into review and scoring, selection and awards, and then typically what we see it kind of stops there. So we would like to kind of take that a step further with winner communication, being able to communicate back and forth with them, having them go back into your tool, maybe upload more things that you need, send them out reminders, things like that. Then we would move into post award and showcase. So this is kind of showing off your recipients and kind of why they received this award, and then finishing with kind of engagement and impact. So that is that impact reporting. That's when this program is all said and done. You are able to report back to your organization why it was successful, how it engaged your members, and how your program is growing from year to year. So, some of the spots where programs are kind of failing is the first one being no operation command center. So kind of like Hallie said, at any given time, not being able to tell people in your organization where your judges are at, how many judges have submitted scores, how many applicants have came in, started, but not finished yet, how many you've received. Being able to see all of that in one, as well as having all of your communication go through that portal, having judges be in that same portal. So you have an overview of everything that's going on within your program. The second one would be the nominator nominee gap. So this is kind of managing dual workflows. Something that we've kind of seen here at Reviewer is sometimes you will have typically a nominator come in and nominate someone. They will fill out the form and then that is that. But what we like to kind of encourage here at Reviewer, and we've seen be really successful, is your nominator will come in. They will fill out a very small form on who they are nominating. Then the person they nominated will receive an email that they have been nominated. So it kind of helps get more people involved. They feel kind of excited to get that email, really realizing that they are nominated. And then they can go in and fill out more questions on behalf of themselves. Sometimes when the nominator fills out that, they don't always know all of this information on your nominees. So it's just a way to kind of ensure some more accurate information. Um, the third one is judging that doesn't hold up. So that is judges judging in spreadsheets. That is judging bias. That is not consistent rubrics, and then no way to redact data. So if you do have your judges possibly knowing your applicants, or you have sensitive data of the applicants that you kind of want to hide from your judges, having that capability can be super important just for your applicant's own personal privacy and data security. Also, one other thing we have seen happening in that area, typically, when people are judging and you have multiple judges, take me for example. Say I am a judge and I am a very rough, hard scorer, and Hallie is also a judge and she judges pretty easy. If I'm an applicant, obviously I want Hallie to evaluate me because she tends to judge easier. So that can create some bias amongst judging. Right. And now our next one is communication that falls through the cracks. So this is communicating with winners. This is communicating with people who have maybe started their application and not finished. Not having any sort of automation to send them out emails, reminding them to finish, reminding them to come back in the platform, telling them the nominees have been awarded, things like that to kind of keep everybody up to date. And then we have post award chaos. So this is you've selected your winners and now all of the things that come after it. You might need more information from them. You might need headshots. You might need bios, things like that. And just throwing that all kind of into a shared folder or through emails can create a lot of manual processes on your end as an admin. And then our last one is engagement you can't prove. So that again is when your program is over. Being able to prove your member engagement, show everybody that was involved, and how these impacted them. So having your applicants come back in after they have been awarded and kind of maybe give you a survey or maybe a write up or a video kind of sharing how this award has affected them and impacted them and encouraged them, that type of thing. So going reporting beyond just the basic numbers.
Yeah, and then the last thing that we'll talk about will kind of just bring everything together, and that is a practical framework for what you need. So pretty much the first kind of two pillars that we talked about, the issues we're seeing, what we kind of want to work towards, we're going to show you kind of a live view of what that looks like here in Reviewer. Before that, just so we can kind of get a quick idea what we're going to be going over. Nominations and intake. So that dual nominator nominee workflow where we have our nominators fill out a really brief nomination form with information that they can answer to the best of their ability, but then allow that nominee to come in and fill out the rest of those answers and really kind of put their best foot forward. Really, really important. Callie kind of spoke on it. About how it's important that we let those nominees really take over on that information that is best and really can only be answered accurately by the nominee. The second thing is the operational command center. So you as admin, you have to be able to have kind of that full visibility of what all is going on with your submissions, your judges, kind of everything along those lines. How many days are left? You need to be able to have that quick visibility so that you can kind of have that baseline knowledge at all times. Third thing is judging and scoring. So making those customizable rubrics, making sure that we don't have any conflict of interest or bias in our scoring, making sure that we download that normalization report so we really are choosing the best winner. And then those AI summaries that we're working towards, balancing out those workloads and making sure that our judges kind of all have that equal opportunity. The next thing is communication, which is really, really important, especially for those of you who are doing a very manual process right now. We're seeing that a lot of you guys are sending out personalized emails to each individual applicant. You are the one who's having to remind them and kind of keep them in the loop about the process, which is really inconvenient and really isn't a responsibility that you should have to do. And so automating those messages, an automatic incomplete submission reminder email, an automatic invite email to that nominee, an automatic submission confirmation email. Everything is automatic so that it is not on you as the admin to double check, go and verify, and make sure that our applicants are kind of finishing out what they need to. Post award and showcase. So collecting your acceptance forms, your impacts, your thank you content, anything that you need kind of follow up post award, you can all do in one space, same as kind of your original application. And that makes it really easy for the applicant as well, where they can just log back in, fill out the required information and be done again. Really great experience for them. And then for that showcase, that'll be something new that we'll kind of talk about, but kind of getting more people involved other than just your nominators and nominees, getting the rest of your organization involved, getting your community involved. Really, really important that you're getting everyone involved just so you can have more numbers, better outcomes, everything kind of regarding that. Reporting and engagement. So making sure that you have those reports from year to year. How is your event performing compared to years past? What changes have you made and what can we still improve on to continue to grow? And then engagement. So kind of same thing, bringing in with that showcase. We want more people to come in. That's how your event grows. That's how we spread by word of mouth. You kind of want that event buzz going around your organization, community, etc. And then the last thing is security and support. So not only do we need to make sure that we have full security for all our applications, information, files, everything along those lines, but also the support side of things, especially for you all as admin, where once again, this is not your full-time job. None of you are probably experts at awards, unless I'm wrong, you might be. But having a team that is there to help you throughout every step of your way is really, really important and kind of the invaluable step because you always have someone who can be there to answer your questions, help you out, kind of guide you through this new process. And with that, I'm going to kind of walk you through everything that I just talked about. And with that, the first thing is going to be kind of that nominator process. So what we see a lot of at Reviewer is we see our clients posting their microsite link on their website, social media, sending blast emails to their organization. However you kind of run it, however you can get that microsite out to the most people, all of those ways. So then here's kind of that portal where they will create an account. And this is really important because this is what allows them to save and log out, save and come back. This is what allows them to reapply from year to year, renominate from year to year, which you want those applicants, those nominees, those nominators to be coming back from year to year. And then for our nominator example, we just have their quick little information, relationship. And then here's kind of really the bulk of what we're going to ask those nominators. So quick information about the nominee, questions that they have a quick answer to, nothing that they have to dig and really think about, just kind of the basics. And then this last page is where they really can showcase why they are nominating this person. This setup can look different for everyone, but it really is just important that the nomination is really important, and that shows that the nominee deserves to be considered for this award. And we want that nominator to brag on them. But what we don't want to do is put the whole entire application process we don't want to put that all on the nominator's shoulders. So they will fill out this information and click submit. And then that nominee will get an email. They'll look, oh, I was nominated for this award. Let me click this link, log in, create an account, and I'm going to fill out this information. So you can give them a little bit of a rundown of what they were nominated for. And then this is eligibility. So we can set up eligibility on any of your forms. We do it for awards, scholarships, grants, everything to make sure that they really are eligible before they waste your time and their time kind of applying for something that they are not eligible for. Once they pass that eligibility, then they kind of are able to step into that form and answer all of those questions. So kind of more in-depth questions about their sales volume, their transactions, how much they have made, how much they've sold, records, spreadsheets showing all of their transactions, things that a nominator would not have access to easily without kind of blowing the surprise and excitement of saying, hey, I'm nominating you for this. And then at the bottom, we have an example of this secure file that we have. And then we also kind of let the nominee have an opportunity to brag on themselves. So let them showcase why they are a great nominee and why they should be considered for this award. The next thing that I'm going to show you is this admin command center. So we call this the admin dashboard. So when you log into Reviewer and you go to your event, you'll first be dropped into this admin dashboard. And so this is kind of just your quick overview of understanding how many days are left to my event, how many submissions do I have, what are the status of these submissions. For a nominator nominee event, you're going to have a supplemental form. So how many supplemental forms have been submitted, filled out, what's the progress of them all? And then down here, you also have custom dates and deadlines. So if you have milestones that you want to put into your event, different kind of just times during your award cycle that you want to have information kind of update, check-in will all be displayed there. And then you also have the opportunity for you as admin and then reviewers to leave notes on submissions. So you can keep track of those there as well. Aside from just that kind of brief overview, it's also really important to get a more in-depth view. So this is our managed submissions page. So down here, we have every submission that has been submitted through your event. You can see their submission name, organization. This really can kind of be tailored to what you want it to look like. What is important that you see on this managed submissions page? As an admin, you have access to all submissions. You can edit them, see their entire submission, kind of have access to all of that. But then you also have the ability to add questions and comments and communicate directly to the submitter through the application, as well as write notes for your reviewers, for other admin, anything along those lines. Up here is the attachments tab. If you as an admin have to add any attachments to the submission form for any reason, you can do it here. All attachments that were uploaded by the original submitter will also be shown here. You can get a quick view of them. And then supplemental forms. So if you are running a nominator nominee event, their supplemental, the nominee application will show here. You can see it, edit it, everything kind of along those lines. For kind of more going towards the judging side of things, we have our groups and divisions. So we separate all of our submissions into groups, whether it's by auto grouping when they submit the form, or if it's just throwing them into a group at the end. All submissions have to be in groups in order to be reviewed. And so this is a really great way to kind of organize your submissions based on how you want them to be reviewed. A lot of our admin have different scorecards based on the different groups. So if you're offering 10 different awards, then you might have 10 different scorecards, 10 different groups, kind of dividing your applications based on what they're applying for. You can have a great visibility of your reviewers in each group. And then we also will make the pairings here. So there are 3 options. You can either auto assign, which I'll show you right here. You pick a maximum and minimum number of reviewers per submission. So how many times do you want that submission to be reviewed? Once you click auto assign, it makes that assignment for you. The second option is to do the assign all, which means that all submissions will be assigned to all judges. Every judge will judge every single submission in the group. And then the last option is to manually assign. So you can set up the auto assigning and then you can undo it, or you can manually assign from the start to kind of avoid that bias. So kind of covering your tracks and making sure that you don't have any bias reviews in the system. The next thing I want to show you is the evaluator side of things. So you will put them into the system, you will send them an invite email once all assignments are made. They'll log in and they will see all of their submissions down here. Kind of with that data security, if there is a chance of bias, if it's an internal award system, you can set up the data redaction feature, which means that we don't show names, any kind of personal information we can take out of there. You can also see, for example, if I was a reviewer logging in and I've already completed all of my evaluations, you can see the score that you gave each one. But taking a quick peek at what that actual evaluation process looks like, over here on the left, we have that entire submission form that they can click links, they can click the files and view, pretty much anything they need to do, they can have access to it. And then over on the right, we have that scorecard where there will be rating each kind of area of the submission form. The next thing is going to be your public showcase. So this is going to be what you send out to the public, to the rest of your organization, that not just people who have been applied, who have been nominated, can see. So this can be where you showcase anyone who has been nominated. You can showcase everyone who nominated and is a nominee. Pretty much anything along those lines. Clicking into each of those little profiles, you can kind of customize the information that is displayed here. You can add pictures that would help kind of support the cause. And then you also can set up voting. And so this is where you can kind of get creative with your awards program, where you can either do like a kind of community member vote. And you also can share this out to the public and have the community decide. Let them choose who is going to win the Community Choice Award, something along those lines. So just making sure we get more people involved. And then the last thing I want to talk about is kind of post-award, post-judging, figuring out who your true winners are. As Callie spoke on earlier, it's really important to kind of even out that playing field of those really tough judges versus the really easy ones. And so a quick way to do that, first of all, is to view results, and you can check out any outliers. Each submission is going to show its judges and either the progress of the evaluation or the score they were given. And so you can kind of see if any of these submissions have an outlier. For example, we have pretty much 30s and 20s, and then we have a 12. So you have the opportunity to reach out to the reviewer, to click into the review, see if this was maybe a fumble finger, if there's intention, kind of verify their score. And then that normalization report, it's a downloadable Excel file that will populate with all of your submissions and your judges based on the groups. Over here on the left, we have all of the submissions, and then up here on this top row, we have all of the evaluators, excuse me. And then the corresponding cells are the scores that each judge gave the submission. Moving over, we have the average score that each judge gave each kind of application. And so you can kind of see over here a little bit of the difference here. We have a really tough judge over here of a 23. And then over here, we have a really easy judge of a 34. So naturally, I'm going to want that 34 to score me. They score higher. Typically, its highest points win, right? But what we do with this normalization report is each of these average numbers turns into a 1. So anything that was scored above that average of a 23 or above a 34 becomes above a 1. And that's what kind of marks it as above average. That's what kind of marks it as a true winner. And then based on the results of every judge's kind of normalized report, that's how you can really see who your true highest above average winners are. And that's kind of it for that side of things.
All right, let's hop back into the slides quick. Okay, so the next thing we kind of put together for you guys is just a couple questions to one, ask yourself about your current programs, and two, if you are looking to move to a new platform, some kind of questions to ask to make sure that it has everything that you need. So just to pull out a couple that stick out, the biggest one being is, does it cover the full life cycle that you're needing? And then another one is questions about just overall security of the platform. Is your applicant's data safe when it goes into that platform? Especially when it comes to the world of AI and using things like ChatGPT to help organize our programs and things like that. Data security for your applicants can become super important. Things like Google Forms, JotForm. Once your applicant's data is put into those, you can't necessarily ensure where that's going or if their data is safe. So that is a big thing to ask when you're looking at taking on a new platform. And then just a couple questions about just the partnership in general with that platform would be, what does ongoing support look like? So are you talking to an AI chatbot? Do you have real people that can help you? Do you have to put in tickets? How does that work? That whole type of thing. And then what other people within your space are using that? So, what other associations are similar to you using that same platform, and how does it benefit them, and how does it work for them? Are super kind of important questions to ask as you're going through that process. So, we put together a little checklist for you. So this is kind of your buyer's guide to a new platform. You can use this checklist to kind of explore your current platform, or if you're looking to move into a different tool, this is a checklist that you can kind of go through to see if it has everything that you may want or need. So following this webinar, you will receive a download of this checklist so you can kind of go through yourself as you're evaluating your current processes or moving into a new process. So, with that being said, we want to open the floor for questions.
Looks like we have our first question. Can you have more than one admin working on the program? Yes, you can have unlimited admin. We have some organizations where it is just kind of a one person show, and then we have others where there's up to 10 or 15 different admin that are in there, have access, and kind of can work on that.
It looks like we have another question. All right, I can kind of read this one for you. How many qualifying rules are possible? If submitters answer yes, no to a question, and it shows slash hides different fields. Also, how much space is possible for storage? Our program collects large files, audios, photos for each submission.
Yeah, so as for kind of that conditional logic question, there's not a limit. So we have some kind of eligibility pages that are up to probably around 20 questions. But then outside of just that eligibility page, there's conditional logic on the pages themselves, within the pages. So there's not really a limit on that. And then storage wise, I could not tell you the exact number, but I do know it is a very large number, just because we do have multiple programs that are using us solely for video uploads, which obviously takes up a lot more kind of storage in the file realm of things. And then we also have a lot of programs where their kind of sole purpose of running it is to just get the uploads of applicants. So definitely a pretty big number. We haven't ever ran into an issue where we don't allow enough storage in the file type. So don't know exactly the number on that, but that's definitely something that we can get to you. Um, but yeah.
Oh, looks like we have another question. Are judges able to play things like audio files for submissions right inside the platform? And is there a mobile version available for judges so they can judge on their phone?
Yes, so kind of similar to the last couple of questions, we do have quite a few events where it is just video uploads. So judges do have the ability to listen, watch any of the uploads, videos, links, anything that are inserted into that form. And then what was that other question, Callie? Sorry.
Oh, um, oh, mobile version.
Oh, yes. You can run reviewer from any platform. It is more recommended to do it on a desktop, laptop, iPad just because it's a larger screen, but it does work on phones. So if they wanted to do that from their mobile device, that works great too.
All right, I will drop that link again if you guys have any kind of hyper specific questions or questions following this webinar, and you're looking to kind of reach out from somebody from the team. They'll be able to help you. They'll also be able to help you with like pricing and exactly how your program could look within Reviewer if that's something you're interested in. But with that being said, thank you guys for coming to our webinar today.
Yeah, thank you guys.